Yeah, if I can hold it, if I can get there, I'll hold it. He's pretty good in front, so if he can hold it, he's got to get there first and then hold out the outside horses. But if he can get there, I'll be holding it and expect him to run well.
Terrific. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Adam.
Gary Hall Jr., he's a youngster, but he covered himself in glory on night one. There's another 3 nights of the Inter-Dominion to go.
Yeah, it must be exciting for him, just 21 years of age, to be associated with one of the all-time modern-era greats in the Falcon Strike. No doubt about that. His record speaks for itself. He has 5 Grand Circuit triumphs to his name. Admittedly, his Eastern States campaign wasn't as good as his Western Australian form, but he did perform very well in the Hunter Cup a few seasons back, so it hasn't been all that bad on the eastern seaboard, and certainly he won the Newcastle Mile in fast time. The running double on Super...
Talked about rival of the Falcon Strike in our next race. Can you lead?
Good question. Yeah, look, he gets his chance there tonight. If he could hold the lead, there's a few outside that get out pretty quick, but Joe, he's no slouch out either. He can hold his ground, so hopefully I can lead.
And if you do lead, the Falcon Strike will be on your outside, but I get the feeling, talking to you off camera, you think you can test him tonight.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, every time my horse has led, it takes a pretty good horse to sit, Well, actually, every time he's led, he's nearly won, so it'd be nice to be in front, put it that way.
All right. The other thing is he's only had one run in about 6 or 7 weeks or so, but fitness-wise, you've got him where you want him.
Yeah, terrific. Actually, Adam, I think he's as good as he's ever been, really. His form's his couple of runs over here in them cups were really good. He drew bad there, and he's not far away.
All right, we'll see if he can put some curry up the locals and test his favourite tonight.
I'll have to do something.
Good stuff. Good luck, Darren.
Thanks a lot.
Darren Hancock, trainer-driver of Joe Fess in the next.
Completely unsuited in his opening heat on Friday night when they ran that blistering 27 seconds last quarter. He was sitting 1 out and 2 back. Joe Fess essentially has never won a race unless he's led or been outside the leader, and there may be an exception to that, but there'd only be one. I can't think of a time he's ever won a race unless he's led or been outside the leader. He loves to be up there fighting. He's a stayer, and that's why tonight he gets a super chance from barrier 2. And Holmes DG, the old boy, Adam Hamilton spoke to him a short while ago.
Thanks, Sam. Barry Purdon joins us. Pretty satisfying set of results for you on night one, Barry. How have the horses been since, old Homer and Napoleon?
Yeah, they've been good, Adam. Yeah, they've both come through it well, and yeah, they've handled the first night pretty good.
I guess going into the series, you knew that Holmes DG would need the right draws to be a chance of making the final. Things have been pretty kind so far. He's drawn pretty well again tonight.
Yeah, he has, Adam. We've been pretty fortunate, as you say. But I think you need a bit of luck around here too, half-mile track. So we've been pretty blessed there. Yeah.
Homer ran well first up. He probably just lacked that little inch of zip at the end of the race. Do you think he can show a little bit more with that run under his belt?
Yeah, I think you're right, Adam. I just felt personally that he might have raced like a little bit of a tired horse, and he just lacked that little bit of sharpness. He is not as sharp as he used to be, but he's still a little bit better than that, I think. But he ran on good, and he kept coming. But I think tonight he might be a little bit better. I hope he will.
Right, so in your eyes, you'll know a lot more about where he is after tonight. The jury's just out a little bit.
Yeah, it is, I think, Adam. I was still pleased with what he did, but I just think, perhaps he could have shown a little bit more dash.
All right, Napoleon, in contrast, locked horns with the bull of the series and looked home halfway down the straight, Napoleon, but the other horse is bottomless.
Well, that's right. I mean, he just gave it to us a lap out, and, I was proud of Napoleon. He went great. I mean, the fastest ever time at Gloucester Park, and he just got beat. So, but, we weren't good enough on the night. The other horse just worried us out of it, basically.
Yeah, drawn the back road tonight, different sit-sprint tactics. He loves that, though, doesn't he, if you can get the right run?
Well, once again, that's right, Adam. And he's just got to get a suck into the race, and, you wouldn't want to be any wider than 4 wide turning for him, I wouldn't think. Yeah. So, hopefully that won't happen, and he can get a toe and be handy on the turn.
Well, you're better poised than most trainers after night one. We wish you the best of luck tonight, Barry.
Thanks very much, Adam.
Barry Purdon across from New Zealand, the old guy, Holmes DG, and Napoleon carrying hs colours through this series.
Thank you, Adam. Details on your screen for Ipswich Race 7. Gosford, the quadrella on the New South Wales tote, numbers 5, 7, 8 and 4, paid $324.50 for that quadrella. $324.50. The first 4 on 4, 1, 3 and 7 paid $444.40. The superfecta, well, there was obviously a flexi ticket involved. It has gone off. It's paid more than $14,000.
Of course, as we launch into night 2 of Inter-Dominion racing here, And what an entree as far as the remaining heats tonight go, because the Falcon Strike, the series favourite, stepped out here. He's a very warm favourite on track. I will say, in light of Gary Hall's information to the stewards, that the horse, well, basically will not be driven as aggressively as he was on night one. Bookmakers have taken a little bit of a risk with him. I'll give you my selections and then talk more about the race. You have to tip the Falcon Strike. If you don't tip him after what you saw on night one, then you obviously weren't watching the racing. So I've gone for him on top. Really good push on track, and from myself to say that Joe Fess, if he leads, can stretch this favourite tonight. Joe Fess, of course, really only effective when he's in front or outside the leader in his races these days. He's got the draw to be a big factor. Then I go to Holmes DG. I can see the scenario where, with his gate speed, he may even lob in the 1-1 trail behind the Falcon Strike. That would give him every chance. Barry Purdon expecting improvement on his OK run from night one. And then out to number 7, Flashing Red. Well, he's got an awful draw, but he was courageous on night one after coming 3 wide a long, long way from home. He won't be far away, and to me looks the value runner at better than double figures at the moment, Flashing Red in the race. So I'm tipping 4 ahead of 2, 3 and 7. I think the race will develop into a lot more of a contest than the betting markets say. And Sam, as far as the betting market's on track, as I said, taking a little bit of a risk with him, the Falcon Strike bookmakers. Good support and a lot of respect around for Joe Fess. Also pretty good support for the Falcon Strike. And won't it be interesting early to see what Nola Rama and also the hardball do from their middle front row draws. Both have terrific gate speed, enough to even try and challenge for the front in the early stages.
But I might tip Joe Fess on the radio this morning, so I should make that appointment with OPFSM as soon as I possibly can. But good point. Good point. I think that the Falcon Strike's performance on Friday night was clearly superior, but I guess that the factor tonight is that the Falcon Strike at the start might be going back, and that's why I leant towards Joe Fess personally. But we'll know shortly. But firstly, Ipswich Race 7. Updated points for the horses contesting this particular heat. From the top, the die is cast currently on 6 points. Joe Fess on 8. He'll need to score well tonight. Holmes DG 11. The Falcon Strike 16. Nola Rama 7. The Hardball gets 6. Disappointing on Friday night. Flashing Red 13. Blue Galleon 11. Light Red 7. Peggy Dale 8. And Sandy Bay 8. Chivalrous Fella on 9 points. So that's the current standings. I reckon the cut-off point will be around about the 26 or 27 mark, but it just depends, obviously. If the same winners from night 1 win on night 2, the cut-off is lower, and if the wins during the heats are shared, then you generally have to score higher. So it obviously depends on a few factors, but around 26, 27 will be your cut-off. A win earns 16 points, a second place 13, a third place 11, a fourth place 4, and then 1 down from that, 8 through to 1 if you fill last place. So obviously a win is all that more important, not just because you score maximum points, but you get that bonus factor as well of scoring 3 more points than the second place getter. The Falcon Strike has 16 points. He's $1.50 to make it 32. Here is John Hunt as they move up for the third event, which is Heat 5 of the Inter-Dominion Pacing Championship.
4 heats on opening night and 3 nights 2 and 3 with the capacity fields of 12 back in order. Opening night 4 heats of 9 to just cater for 1 line of horses, and that worked very well too. It was a very, very good night on Friday. The Falcon Strike was the star of the show Friday night, and he's a red-hot favourite here, but there's good support for Joe Fess, the New South Welshman, and he's at $4.60 with the Falcon Strike at $1.60, about 9 to 1 Holmes DG, and Flashing Red, who's about halved his quote on the TAB. So's Holmes DG. Well, they accelerate, 21.40 ahead of them. Stand by for a start. First leg of the quadrella. And the fifth heat of the Inters, the green light is on, racing now, and the Falcon Strike bounced out with them. Near the inside, Joe Fest got going in a heck of a hurry. He wants the lead. Darren Hancock is being pulled on in the early part by Barry Purdon on Holmes DG going forward, but he couldn't get around him, and Joe Fest will take up the running from Holmes DG. Caught 3 wide early is the Victorian star mare Nola Rama. She's going to work forward. The Dyer's Cast will drive up onto the back of the leader. The Hard Bull Getters out 3 deep going around them. The Falcon Strike restrained. He's on the outside from Peggy Dale. He hooks out 3 wide now, the favourite. Sandy Dale was next, and then Chivalrous Fella, the pegs, a little over a length to Flashing Red. He got back to 3rd last early. Down on the inside next is Blue Galleon, and a length and a half away last of all is Light Red as they head to the far side. And in front it's Joe Fess, about a length on the Hard Bull Get. The Falcon Strike is going to whip around them 3 deep and get to the breeze. On the inside is the Dyer's Cast, followed then by Peggy Dale, railing up on the inside of Nola Rama. 2 lengths to Holmes DG got shuffled back. Out 3 deep on the course, Flashing Red takes off, and then Chivalrous Fella. Flashing Red being tracked forward now by Sandy Bay. Well back in the field to Blue Galleon, and Light Red is at the tail. Now the lead time at 37.3 in the first quarter of the last mile in 29.9. They come down to the top of the straight, 900 from home, and Hancock sitting quietly on Joe Fess, and the New South Welshman will come down to get the bell, leading about a half length on the Falcon Strike. He looked in cruise control, they both do. In third, the Dyer's Cast on the inside of the Hard Bull, getting Flashing Red, trying to get something going out 3 wide. That quarter in 30.1, the half in 60. Bailed away on the inside next was Peggy Dale. Sandy Bay wide out around Nola Rama, who looked to be under some pressure, followed further back in the field by Holmes DG, taken to the outside from Chivalrous Fella, Light Red, and relegated to last now is Blue Galleon as they head inside the 500. Joe Fess says, catch me if you can. It's 3/4 of a length on the Falcon Strike. He's being urged along now, and he takes closer order again, moves within a half. 28.4 down the back. They were sprinting quickly. 2 lengths away to the Dyer's Cast into the clear. Back on the inside to Peggy Dale, and further off as they come to the corner was Flashing Red, and then Chivalrous Fella. Joe Fess first for home. He's a length on the Falcon Strike. He's going to have to dig real deep from here. A gap to Peggy Dale, but Joe Fess is holding him, and Joe Fess far too good tonight. Runs away to score. A little over a length on the Falcon Strike. 2 lengths away third, Peggy Dale. Behind them, Flashing Red and the Dyer's Cast. After a gap came Blue Galleon, and then Sandy Bay at the head of the others, Holmes DG. Further off to Chivalrous Fella. Well out of it next was Nola Rama, and then the Hard Bull Get. And Light Red is back at the tail of the field. Geez, finished that off in 28.2. That's a last half of 56.6. And it was very similar to a couple of weeks ago when the leader was able to finish it off brilliantly like that, buck the odds, and the Falcon Strike unable to reel them in. And you're going to find in any race at this level, certainly in sprints and shorter distance races, any elite class horse in front that can run its last half in sub 57 is going to be awfully hard to gun down.
Well, I can cancel that subscription to OPSM after all. Joe Fess, yes, he got to the lead. It looked his heat, it really did, and it's turned out that way. The Falcon Strike lost no admirers outside the leader. We expected him to be driven a little bit more quietly tonight. That wasn't the case. And Peggy Dale, Brian Hancock, he's a freak. He is a freak. He has gained points with a horse that many would have thought would struggle in this class, but yet again, B. Hancock to the fore, Peggy Dale in 3rd place. But Joe Fess was able to control the race out in front, and it was always going to be a pretty decent battle with 2 very good stayers contesting that race, Joe Fess and the Falcon Strike. In the end, Joe Fess was able to get the money, and very quick time as well. Very quick time. Those sections were lead time 37.3, first quarter 29.9, and 30.1, 28.4, and he wasn't stopping, 28.2 that last quarter. Now at Ipswich at the moment, but well, it's always fast, Gloucester Park, but 155.9 for 2140 metres, that is really humming. I have to point out that the 2140 metre trip at Gloucester Park hasn't been utilised for that long. It used to be 2100 metres, so the track record, in a sense, a touch flattering, but as I've said before, it's still 155 and 9. I think the 2140 metre trip there at Gloucester Park may have been in action for about 9 months. They extended the home straight and back straight start by 40 metres for each of those distances, and that is a track record. However new, is not really that relevant. Now,
for one of the trainers and drivers, and there are a few of them in the hot seat tonight, is certainly Victoria's Lance Justice. Lance, not the start you wanted to the series by any means, but how's Sokiola been since?
Yeah, look, he's improved out of sight, I think, Adam, and I'm just hoping for a better run tonight.
You were, I guess, devastated really after the opening night heat run, but now you've had time to look back and analyse it. You think that he was actually well underdone for the race?
Definitely well underdone. He'd had a few setbacks, and we just thought that, you know, he's always gone in the races underdone and been all right, but, you know, he just didn't perform like he should.
Something he's always been able to do in most of his races is use his brilliant gate speed. You don't have that option as far as trying to lead from inside of the back row, but it'll still be a good weapon as far as getting a position early.
Yeah, we'll just go through and take a spot, and hopefully we can finish it off really well. I expect him to finish off fairly well today.
All right, people have been speculating whether you would in fact snag right out of it and try and come round them, but I imagine that's nearly mission impossible here.
Yeah, well, all his life he's been taught to run out the gate, and when he gets up on the second row, he'll just run through hard. So, you know, he'll run through and try and squeeze himself off the peak somewhere, and I'll give him a bit of a hand. Feeling the pressure?
No, not really. All right, well, it's good to see. It's good to see a man who's not feeling it in the sulky tonight. All the best, Lance.
Thanks, Adam.
There's Lance Justice, one of Victoria's top in the business here with Sokiola. He needs a top 2 or 3 finish to keep the dream alive of an Inter-Dominion glory.
Adam had a good look at the numbers today. I think 1, 2 or 3 will still well and truly put him in the hunt for the final. If he does finish third tonight, then he'll nearly need to win on night 3. But look, it's not the end of the world. Night 1 historically has not proved to be the most accurate guide to the grand final. We Own a Warrior was just 8th on night 1 way back in 1994 before running second and then winning on the last night to qualify for the final. History says he won that. And the mighty Alsa Vancelot was only 8th in his middle leg of trilogy of triumphs in the Inter-Dominion Grand Final. He finished 8th at Alexandra Park on night 1. Admittedly, there were circumstances on that occasion, but look, night 1, not necessarily the end of the world if you perform poorly. Obviously, tonight he has to make good, though.
Sam, I'm sure you'd agree with me in saying that one of the stars of night 1, and to the Eastern States visitors, I'll be honest, Peter Anderson say one of the surprise packets of night 1 to us was Buck the Odds. You say he's been underrated for a long time. Good time for him to deliver on his best form.
Yeah, well, he's won 200,000 now, and he's the sort of horse that's never drawn. And the last 2 starts, he's got to the front. Very good horse in front. He's only drawn 60 starts. He's only drawn inside 5 on 4 occasions, and when he gets to the front, he's pretty slick.
Well, last Friday night certainly showed that the win over the Falcon Strike was no fluke. He was amazing last Friday to survive a savaging early from Sokiola and win like he did.
Yeah, well, he's always been a very good short trip horse, but this year, because he's a slow maturer, I kept out of all the mile races and wait till next year. So I had a little bit of an ace up my sleeve because I know how good he is over a mile and nobody else did. So
yeah, well, tonight he steps up to the 2100 metres. He's drawn out in 6. Everyone's telling me he's still a huge chance of leading from there.
Well, Mark's the pilot, and I put him on for do a job, but I think he'll go forward. I think on this track, if you don't go forward, you're kidding yourselves. And barring, Sand Pebbles is a problem in 3 if she starts at her best, but you'd have to be brave to try and hold him out, I think, when you're running 8.2s and lead times like that.
It wouldn't even be a disaster sitting outside the leader, the way that he was able to survive working so hard last week to win.
Well, he's won 16 of his 26 wins in the breeze, so he does relax. And, it's all about points now. Getting in the final, it's 8,000 for turning up on final night, so it's all about dollars. And, I'll be rapt if he gets in the final and he earns, 40 or 50,000 on the way. I mean, that's what it's all about.
It certainly was. I think it was a brave and a really courageous decision to take yourself on and take yourself off and put Mark on, but one that's paid dividends.
Oh, that was a simple decision. At Christmas, if there had been a smart lightweight around, I would have jumped off as well, but there wasn't. I'm not going to jump off for anyone who's, I don't think, is better, but it wasn't a hard decision at all. I mean, Mark drives tons better than me. I know I'm not a top reinsman, and I knew he wasn't a 201 chance. I gave him every chance, and my owners every chance. They're going to reinvest in the stable. I've got to look after their interests.
I'm tipping it'll be just as sweet to cheer him home from the grandstand. Good luck tonight, Peter.
Yeah, well, the pressure's off. It's easy just watching, isn't it?
Certainly is. All the best.
Thank you.
There's Peter Anderson, one of the success stories of this series, Buck the Odds, and he'll be one of the favourites again in our second heat.
Yeah, wonderful comments there from Peter Anderson.
Last year's Inter-Dominion runner-up, of course, Sam, was Mont Denver Gold. He's in a tricky position, just trying to keep his hopes of making the final alive after Heat 1. Chris Elford, a wide draw tonight has really put you in the danger zone.
Yeah, he's up against it tonight, Adam. Probably as he was always going to be, you know, coming over here if he didn't, you know, fare too well in the draw, and hasn't again tonight, so it's going to be very hard.
Now, his figure chart says he ran 8th. There's such a thing as a good 8th. Were you happy with the run or just so-so?
Oh, no, I was pleased with him. He, you know, he couldn't have done any more than what he did, actually. So, you know, there was no need to start panicking except, you know, wish for a better draw.
The only thing that could be in your favour tonight is that there's a stack of gate speed on that front row. It doesn't necessarily equate to a truly run race, but that's your only hope of winning.
Yeah, well, you know, I need him to go hard all the way, but we thought that last week, and they went about 4 seconds slower than any other race. So, you know, we'll just have to hope that Lance can probably get off the fence and try and force the issue a bit, and a couple others want to, you know, put their horses into the race.
You've been dragged off the interchange bench to reunite with one of your old favourites, Lombo La Fifi. You're in a tough position there with her too, but at least she's got gate speed from that wide draw, and there's not much speed under you. You might be the key player in the race.
Yeah, well, on what, you know, of the locals, what I've found out so far, there doesn't seem to be that much speed, and Double Identity is not a brilliant beginner. So, you know, if she went back to how she used to come out as a 2- and 3-year-old, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if she found the pegs.
And if you were to find the front, you obviously haven't spoken to Connections, but would you want to hold the lead?
Well, you'd think on her form you'd have to. I think she led from 6 or 7 here and won the 4- and 5-year-old championship, I think. So, you know, her runs prior to, you know, breaking on Friday have been really good since she's been here. So, you know, she'd be right at the top of her game anyway.
A couple of bad draws, a couple of pressure drives. You're just a man for the job. Make it work tonight, Chris.
Hope so, Adam. Thanks.
Good on you. Chris Elford joining us there. Mont Denver Gold and Lombo La Fifi, his remaining drives.
And who could forget his victory aboard Golden Rain back in 1995 in a thrilling Inter-Dominion Grand Final, a controversial one, that's for sure. He came from near last Golden Rain. It wasn't generally his racing pattern. A wonderful series, controversial one, but a most memorable one as well. Now, just clarifying the leader, but on the night, Joe Fess a little too good for him. And the other heat winner was Mr. DG, who will go around a little bit later on. It's interesting to note, just having looked through the history books, that the last horse to go through the series undefeated was way back in 1986, and it was a horse by the name of Village Kid. A couple have won 2 heats and then the final. Even last year we had that scenario with Baltic Eagle opening his Inter-Dominion campaign with the 4th placing. He won his final 2 heats and then went on to win the final. And Smooth Satin did something similar in 2002, was 5th on night 1. Won his next 2 heats and then went on to win the final. So quite a number of horses over the years have been able to win 2 heats before winning the final, but the last one to go through undefeated was the mighty Village Kid. Before him, it was Pro Chevalier just 12 months earlier at Moonee Valley. So it does take some horse to go through undefeated. The point of that detail was, do not give up on the Falcon Strike if you're a supporter of that particular horse. It's virtually impossible to get through.
We'll get to him in just a moment. Late mail for Inter-Dominion Heat 2, going the way of faking it. Most impressed, although the time was slow on night 1. Drawn nicely. The biggest tip on track is number 6, Buck the Odds. We've heard from Peter Anderson. Hard not to be impressed with what he did on night 1. Blistering gate speed. He'll look to find the top again. Even if he doesn't, as Peter said, he's got a great record when he sits without cover. And then we go out to numbers 11, All Heart, and 10, Sokiola. My heart is cheering for Sokiola tonight. I think All Heart will run a terrific race, even though he's drawn the back row. So the most intriguing heat of the series so far, in my eyes, is coming up in a few moments' time. 2, 6, 11 and 10, the way I saw them. Scott Phelan was walking past. I thought I would grab him, Sam. Scott, Holmes DG tonight. Dare I say at the end might be near for the champ. He just looked a bit flat tonight.
He was a bit flat. He was a bit disappointing. He went a good race the first night, and he was just a bit disappointing tonight.
Yeah, he was there to be some sort of factor in the race and just seemed to just paddle up the straight a bit.
Well, he did. We got a fair way back, and, you know, they ran a track record, so he still did just battle a bit.
You got to respect champions, but he's had a great innings. We probably won't see him in an Inter-Dominion again anyway.
Well, probably not, but you know, it's been great to be associated with him, so I was very happy with it.
Certainly has, and he lifted off the canvas to make the final and run third last year, so I may live to regret those comments. But let's talk about Napoleon later on in the night. Very different race to last week. Tonight you've got the back row. I imagine it'll be driving for a lot more luck.
Well, it will, and hopefully get a good drag around. You know, he's got a lot of speed, this horse, and you know, coming off the back of him, I think he should be a big chance.
You must be loving being part of this series, particularly on two quality horses. And I think one of the shining lights of this series is the fact that guys like you, Gary Hall Jr., Mark Reed, Blake Fitzpatrick, this is a fresh face of Inter Dominion, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and you know, a lot of it's got to go to the trainers. You know, it's been good for them to put us on, and you know, I can't be happy with it, the series, how it's gone. Real
change in the guard to see guys like Fred Kersley, Brian Hancock, Barry Purdon sitting in the grandstand and watching you fellas.
Well, it is, you know, they're legends of the game, and, you know, it'd be great to be out there driving with them, but they're in the stand, and hopefully we can just keep on going with it.
Can you win on Napoleon with a bit of luck?
I think he can, and, you know, it's gonna be a good race anyway.
Certainly will. And just quickly on Joe Fess and the Falcon Strike, both went very well earlier tonight.
Oh, they did, and, you know, the Falcon Strike went just as good as the winner, I thought, so, you know, it's still going to be a good series.
Great heat coming up here. Go and grab a good seat to watch it. Good luck, Scotty.
Thanks, Adam.
Scott Phelan, there he is, Sam, across from New Zealand. He is a driver really going places. Biggest vote of confidence was Barry Purdon putting him on Holmes DG about 18 months ago. He covered himself in glory with a third in last year's final. He's got a challenge with Homer this year, but I suspect Napoleon will get through to the final at least.
OK, Adam, stay with us. I'll just clear up these Ipswich dividends. 3-4 tonight, which of course is heat 5 for the series. Joe Fess first, the Falcon Strike second, Peggy Dale third, the Die is Cast fourth, Flashing Red fifth, Sandy Bay sixth, Blue Galleon seventh, Chivalrous Fella eighth, Holmes DG ninth, Nolarama 10th, the Hardball Get 11th, and Light Red in 12th place. So the current point score, now obviously you have to take into consideration that the horses that contested that second heat are going to be right in amongst it, but for the sake of going through them, the Falcon Strike now on 29. If I'm right with a cut-off point of about 26, 27, 28, then he's virtually already qualified. That's generally what happens if a horse runs first or second into Inter-Dominion heats. Joe Fess on 24. He won't need much of a finish on Friday night to get through to the final. Flashing Red on 21. He'll need to finish around about in the top 4, maybe 5, depending on other results. Peggy Dale 19. Blue Galleon 17. A couple of horses not... well, they didn't contest that first heat that are up in the point score include Faking It, Mr. DG and Buck the Odds, obviously all on 16 because they won their heats on Friday night, Adam.
Yes, they certainly did. You've explained the situation very, very well there, Sam. Just a quick update betting-wise here for this fifth event, Inter-Dominion Heat 2 tonight. Good support for Buck the Odds. Most expected Faking It would start favourite, but the longer I've been at the track, the bigger the push is to say that Buck the Odds will show sufficient gate speed to get across. The one query is Nats Nifty, very fast beginner, but most insiders or form students on track seem to think that Nats Nifty would prefer to take a sit in this company over the 2100 metres. But that said, Lance Justice will be hoping there's a lot of fireworks early. Sam, it'd be so sad, I think, for this series if Sokiola, after, you know, being the measuring stick of the Grand Circuit all season, is not there for the final.